by my watch, 7:35. So maybe we should start the meeting. Our first order of business is, well, actually, before we get into the general business, maybe we should go around and introduce each other to one another since we're sort of in person now. Ah, Marjorie, yay. Okay. So here's Marjorie, you can be here.
Or maybe you could scoot over so she could be next to you, so that her back isn't to the group.
Yeah. Or I'll just, yeah. Well, we're just working out the kinks.
I think I had left. I'm sorry. Next time, because it's
Fine.
silly. I'm drive right by, you know.
Okay, so I'll start. My name is Tambra, and I'm just going to pass it over to
Barbara. I'm Barbara Rose. I live on Ridgewood Avenue. I've been part of the committee for a number of years. And hello. Barbara Rose, live on Ridgewood Avenue. Been with the committee for a number of years and happy to be here.
Kathy Wolf. I've also been on the committee for a number of years. Live on Lynn Drive. Also happy to be here. Welcome, everyone.
Hi, Quinn Tran, co-chair with Tambra on the committee. I think it's my third year on the committee. Live on Ridgewood with Barbara. Know many of you, and happy to see all your faces in person as well as on screen with a great IT support this time. Thank you.
I'm Jeremy Eig. I also live on Ridgewood. We're very well represented. I've been in the neighborhood for about 10 years, and that's my first year on the committee.
I'm Julia Bellinger. I live on Woodbine Street, not Ridgewood. And I've been on the committee for a couple of years, I think 3 or 4. So it's been great, and I'm happy to be on it again.
I'm Irene Lean. I am on the town council and I serve as the town council liaison to this committee. This is my 2nd year on the town council and going into my 5th year living in the town.
Hi everyone, Ann Patterson. I live on Elm Street right here, and this is my first year on the committee.
And I'm Marjorie Shaw, and I live on Maple, and I've been on the committee for 3 or 4 years, and happy to be here.
And I'm Julie Stanish. I live on Elm Street. Yay, second most represented. And oh, okay. And I've been on the committee since its inception, so a long time.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, the folks online.
Hi, I'm Diane Arkin. I live on Meadow Lane, and I'm new to the committee.
Hi, I'm Amanda Clovers. I live on Beechwood, and this is my first year in the committee as well.
Hey everyone, Peter Ladigard. I live on Oak Ridge Avenue. I've been in the neighborhood for 7, 8 years. It's my 2nd year with a bit of interruption in the committee. Nice to see you all. And I'm sorry I couldn't join in person.
Okay, so welcome everyone. And I think now we can start with our general business, which is approval of the October 2021 minutes. Did anyone have any edits or comments? And I forget, do we? Okay, then I move to adopt the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Barbara. And now I think we vote to adopt the minutes.
All in favor.
All in favor? It appears to be unanimous with 1 abstention now. Okay, and then next, I think we're going to move on to the old business. Oh, are there any public comments? Hearing no public comments, we can move to the old business. First, we'll ask maybe Kathy or Quinn for a report on the discussion and desserts with Jeffrey Salingo?
Sure. Good thing that Kathy and I are sitting together so we can share the same microphone. So the discussion and desserts actually went fairly well. We had about, I'd say 25 people out of 40 RSVPs. And it'll be interesting to see how many people, given that we are all conditioned to watch recorded sessions now in our pandemic life, it'll be interesting to see how many people actually watch the video on YouTube, since it's been posted on our town's YouTube channel. For those of you who aren't aware, we actually have a YouTube channel. So we'll include that in the minutes. And for people who actually RSVP to attend, there was an email that was sent out to all RSVPs with a link to the video, as well as a link to Jeff's book and his website, which actually has a lot of very useful resources when your anxiety levels about whether your kid's going to go to college increases enough, it keeps you enraptured. Anyway, lessons learned. So Jeff was disappointed in the fact that we shifted the discussion and desserts from an in-person live event to an online event. His feedback was that, I mean, he literally was flying back from California, from Beverly Hills, talking to an audience of like 400 people or something like that. So for him to take the time out of his schedule to talk to our town, having also already done the rounds in Chevy Chase and Bethesda, he did do the Chevy Chase Recreation Center with a live crowd. So we were relieved that he decided to still do it. And it also happened that it was terrible weather. So at the end, it all worked out for all of us because he was happy he didn't have to drive out in the rain. So some very rich engagement from members of the community who actually listened. And yeah, I think overall a positive experience aside from that last minute transition to all virtual. Kathy?
I agree that it was positive and it was a very good presentation. I'm concerned about having so few people. I think it's something the committee needs to talk about, because I believe that there should be more participation, hopefully in the future with the town. And for 40 something people to sign up and only 25 to come on, I thought was also discouraging. So that's my negative comments, but it was very good. And, you know, so it went well.
Yeah. I wonder how many people were discouraged because it was moved. Well, I don't know. I don't know how many people would show up if. But the other thing that we've learned, and I don't know, Anne, if you've had this experience, is people get their expectations are it's a live event. There's a certain element of interaction that's expected, that's preferable to live events, as well as food, because we did, you know, discussion and desserts. The problem with online is you don't get desserts.
However, I believe that only 3 people had signed up. So something like to come in person. So that I think is curious, particularly since Jeff had done a fairly large event at Chevy Chase Village. So I don't know. But,
yeah.
So.
Okay.
I remember at some point we were saying that for each event, there would be a survey sent out. I was wondering if there was a survey, I might have missed it.
There was no survey, Irene. The intent was to send out a survey monkey. Thank you for the music accompaniment, Kathy.
Sorry.
We are very fancy at this meeting.
Exactly.
The challenge with creating a survey for all of our events is that I didn't realize that our subscription is limited to the use by 2 people. And so for me to go in there and make edits to it, it's just not feasible in real time. I'm not gonna, I think you have to like schedule a time to go in it with Todd. Todd gives you administrative rights.
It's not, yeah, Todd is always the one of the 2 users, but as someone who had to put together a large survey for the town previously, you essentially kick somebody else out, which would most likely be me, because I'm going in for certain things. And then you could go ahead and go in there. There really isn't a competition for Survey Monkey use, if you will. what you do is you just ask for a code, you get your code from Todd, and then it all is through email. And then you use that code, get in, and I'm sorry for not explaining this before, and then you would kick me out as a user, and then you've got it, you know what I mean? So
Well, now that I know that I can kick Irene out,
that you're all set.
I will follow up with Todd for that, because I think it is, to Kathy's point, good for us to understand this to help inform future events.
Okay.
You know, another thing is, you know, possibly you could send a survey to the people that didn't show and ask the question, you know, did you not show because you were bit, you know, and ask a couple questions like that, so we get a sense of why people maybe aren't attending, who say they will. Oh, and one more comment. You know, the other thing is maybe on the notice about the event, we could put something like limited space. You know, if you need to cancel, please let us know within 24 hours or something like that. You know, just so that we don't have expectations, especially if it's in person, you know, and you buy food for 50 and, you know, 15 show up. So I don't know.
So we've all noted that, and Quinn's going to follow up. So Marjorie is going to speak to the book club meeting.
So we had the book club November 1st. We had 7 people come, which was better than last time where we had only 4 on the Zoom. And we had the same problems with the people before when we were all on Zoom, people RSVPing and then not being on the Zoom call. So I don't know what that is, but we had it in person here and had 7 people, and it's still probably a little less than is optimal for a book club, but we thought we'd try it for a few more months and just see if we can stimulate a certain nucleus of participants.
I'm wondering how many people signed up for that? Do you know?
I didn't even ask for an RSVP because the RSVPs in the past had been so fictional.
Right, right. But I got a sense that the people who came, I mean, besides us, there were a number of committee people there, really wanted to get out and they enjoyed coming to it because they were coming to an event. So I don't know.
I think we had 2 people who came because of the social aspect of it, who had not actually read the book, but they wanted to be there and
So
be part of it.
maybe that's a little inkling into what's happening. And also because the in-person is so new, I don't know, but I think we have to continue to monitor and figure out what's working. But
I'm curious to know, Marjorie, what would be your ideal turnout number?
10, you think? Yeah.
And the people who attended, how many of them were repeats?
3. Oh, Marianne has been before, so 4.
No, I missed one.
Shall we move on to new business? So the first event coming up is the coffee meetup, which I'm the point person on. And the first question I have is, would anyone like to help? Okay, Barbara and Quinn. Yeah. Okay, good. And let me just tell you, I was working on a little like form, which maybe Anne talked about. What did you call it? A playbook. I thought we could have sort of a standard form that says, you know, the date, the time, how many people expected. And so for this coffee, I'm wondering what people think. I was going to say 60 people. It's not, they're not going to necessarily be all in this room all the time. They'll be coming and going through the hour. Do you think that's too much, too few? Any
I don't
thoughts?
think there'll be 60 people.
Okay, what would a good number be for, because I don't want to be sitting here with like jugs and jugs of coffee.
Do we have an RSVP?
No,
RSVP?
we don't.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it seemed, whoops, sorry. It seemed to me the idea was it would be informal, you know, people could swing by and get coffee if they felt like it. So I was maybe 40. Okay.
And it's only an hour, so they're all going to come.
Okay, so anyway, this is a pretty basic event. We don't really have to talk about it. I mean,
We can talk about it.
yeah. So anyway, I hope you all can come. You'll be, let's see, then we'll need 31 more cups of coffee. But anyway, okay, the next event that we have is the movie night. If you want to talk about that, Julie.
Okay. The movie has been reserved. The room has been reserved. I have to come in for training to operate the screen. We have 17 people RSVP'd right now, but they had a notice that went out, I think it was yesterday. So the other things that need to happen is, I think it was Quinn, you were gonna get snacks, is that right? Yeah, I offered snacks. And so we just need the snacks, and then the other question I have is, I don't know if anybody is gonna help on it, but I don't know how to get in and out of this building and lock up and stuff. So if I can get somebody to help with that, that would be great. I'm sorry, oh, to get the this building locked and unlocked. Keys.
I just got a set of keys. So but for me and Quinn to share, and of course you two may use them, Irene, or anyone. But Quinn or I guess, can come. And I was thinking of RSVPing anyway. So one of us can
That would be
let you
awesome.
in.
And then are you gonna drop the food off, Quinn, on the day of?
Yeah, I was thinking of like bringing it in, like probably get here 30 minutes before, like
Yeah.
all the other events.
Yeah, that's cool.
Probably get here 30 minutes before like all the other events and just help set up. So I can actually get the key, Tambra, if you don't.
Okay, all right.
And you're gonna come, right?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
if there's still room.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had more than that in other
Yeah.
times.
Okay.
How many have signed up? Right now, we had 17 as of yesterday before the notice went out. And it's in person, so
What's the maximum?
I don't know what the maximum is.
I believe it's 40 for this room
Oh, okay.
40? Okay.
Okay.
for based on COVID.
All right. So moving on, is there anything that you would like to say about the coat drive, Marjorie?
The box is on our porch, and Miguel has already picked up a bag of clothes, so it is off to a good start.
Well, we're beginning it, and we're going to have to ratchet up the publicity for it. And I think we're probably going to have drop-offs in person, because it's hard to get things to the town. Town office isn't open every day, right?
Correct.
Okay,
So
so
want to continue doing our houses? That work?
probably,
Okay.
don't you think?
Yeah.
Does that work? Yeah.
Yeah. So last year, Kathy and I just offered people the ability to drop off the gift cards at our respective houses in our mailboxes, or, you know, some stand. And that seemed to work really well. So I'll include that in the promotions.
Okay, great. So hopefully it will be as, I think our deadline was either the 19th or the 20th of December for getting the gift cards in, yeah. Yes, gift cards and checks.
Gift cards and
Absolutely.
checks. Last year was a banner year. We more than doubled, I think, previous year's donation. I think that is in part due to the pandemic and people wanting to give. So we'll see what year 2 the pandemic results in.
Right. We'll see if we can be as fortunate this year. So that's it.
Thank you. So Irene, did you want to say a few words about the Art and Poetry Compilation?
Yeah, so hopefully you all saw in the forecast newsletter, the intent is whether it's a child or an adult created a poem, a picture, took a photograph, something that to them speaks to the resiliency exhibited by themselves or others during the pandemic. The call was to essentially ask anybody if they could take a picture of their creation and email it to the town office. To my knowledge, no one has emailed just yet. I mean, they just got the forecast, so maybe people haven't had a chance to see it. So we'll do a couple of standalone town criers to just call that out a little bit and see what the interest is. If there isn't that many people that are interested in doing this, we'll just drop it. If there is, then we can create an exhibit. But we won't really determine that until next month.
Thanks, Irene. Oh, Barbara?
I was thinking if you get a few things or you can prime the pump with some people that you know could produce a few things, you could talk about them and encourage others to, like if someone did a little poem or something, you could use that as part of your publicity to get more perhaps. And I don't know if there could be someone who's just waiting to do something but needs a little encouragement. I don't know.
Very good idea. Thank you.
Any other thoughts? All right, so now we'll move to sorry.
Can I ask, can we talk about the December 9th event?
Yes,
We're in
yes,
there.
yes.
I know
Oh,
it's
I'm
later.
sorry.
I know it's
totally,
later in
it's
the
in the wrong. Yeah,
agenda.
yeah, perfect. Barbara.
So we are going to do a discussion and desserts on December 9th with Rachel Vogelstein, who's just published her book called Awakening, and it's about the Me Too movement throughout the world. And she's agreed. She now works in the White House, so she had to get permission to talk, but she is talking from her personal capacity and not as a staffer from the White House. But so she's really excited to do it, and I hope by December we're going to have a better idea about crowd turnout and how many. I see this as a great opportunity, particularly for high school kids to come and kind of learn about this topic a bit more, particularly young women. And it's a pretty compelling book. It focuses on 5 countries around the world and how Me Too has taken off in those countries, and talks a little bit about it starting in the US and all of that. But and I'm going to talk to Rachel about, there's a lot she could talk about, but what she wants to focus on. And we'll do something for the forecast on that as well. Anyway.
Are you thinking it's going to be in person?
Well, I think so, but I don't know.
Well, I mean,
By December 9th, it'll depend on what's going on.
well, I mean, even if there is an indoor mask mandate, we can still have people here.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure if you were thinking, given Jeff was hoping for,
Yeah,
not only a larger turnout,
I
but-
think it would be better to do it in person if we can. It'd be nice to get a lot of people, though. If we don't get a lot of people, that's a whole nother, I don't know what we do. Sorry?
Could you do a hybrid?
Yes, well, clearly we can.
Yeah, I think hybrid is,
Yeah.
you'll get more people that way.
Right, right.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, it's all a little unknown as we move forward.
So the discussion just with Jeffrey was intended to be hybrid. We canceled the in-person because we could not see a lot of people showing up, and that would be embarrassing. He did change his presentation. He originally was going to do a 20-minute presentation that he edited down to or he was going to do a longer presentation, 40 minutes or something.
And he edited it down to just like bullet, top line, 20 minutes. Maybe something worth discussing with her, what her comfort level is, because I wish we had discussed it earlier with Jeff.
It is not that we have a whole month to get through whatever we're doing. We'll see how the movie goes and we'll kind of see what happens. So definitely.
I also think that the topic of the Me Too topic is maybe has broader appeal. I mean, I'm sure that it was very interesting, but for people who either have kids who have finished college or who have very young kids, it might not really resonate. And this, to me at least, Me Too is for men, women, everybody. It affects everyone. So.
Are there any comments from the folks who are virtual? I'm looking at,
Nope,
I have the
not
camera.
for me.
Okay. By the way, can you hear us? Oh, good. All right. So thanks, Barbara, because that did make sense up there. So now I think we're in the brainstorming discussion for events that are more in the like potential stage. So the first two actually are Anne is sort of the sponsor of the ideas, and I'm actually wondering if one is still if the first one, the children's art activity, if that's still a live thought.
Yeah, I actually, so I talked to Bridget, we coordinated via email, but it was her idea, and I love the idea, is a story time that turns into like a craft afterwards. Really cool idea. I, definitely thought about it and thinking about when a good time would be for that. I know right now, like a lot of kids have like the sniffles and colds and stuff like that. So I don't know if right now would be the best time for it. Maybe when it gets a little bit nicer outside and we could do some crafts outside. I don't know. I was thinking of, definitely something I want to do. So maybe we could look at it for the spring, sometime in this, maybe like March time. But yeah, so I would be contacting like librarians or anybody that wants to do the read, and then I'd be happy to create the craft based on the book that we choose.
What age group were you targeting?
That's a great question. I'd probably be targeting around the elementary school age group.
Well, tomorrow will be the first day of vaccine availability.
That is true.
Might really help in terms of, preparedness.
Yeah.
Maybe in 5 weeks, we'll have that,
Yeah.
that critical mass of that age group.
Yeah.
Okay.
So something to follow, definitely.
I wonder if there's a children's author in the town.
Right. I could look at that. One?
I recall there being something on the list about a children's illustrator, an illustrator of children's books. So I can do a search for on the town neighbors listserv for that.
That'd be awesome. That'd be cool.
I think it would be cool to have that person read their own book, or if they illustrated a book, read that book.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool.
And also maybe that person could sort of segue into the craft, depending on if that person was the illustrator.
Right.
If like, depending how vaccine rollout goes with kids and with timing, if you want to do it in the winter, that this could be a good activity for the times when no one has school,
Okay.
on either President's Day or MLK Day,
Okay.
because those are days when parents are often looking for things to do with children.
Okay. Good to know.
Or
So-
just Jeremy.
Or just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. I love incorporating someone in the neighborhood, seeing if they have a book. And then based on the book, we'll come up with a craft so we can brainstorm that. Cool. So that's the first idea. So kind of still, and so the second one is I'm kind of been really brainstorming this. So I would love to host a spring fest around the cherry blossom time, so we can make it cherry blossom themed. So I was thinking around April 3rd. It's a Sunday. doing it in the afternoon. And, you know, having either like seeing if we could get some type of permit here, and doing either food trucks or food tents, beer and wine. And then just a few things I threw out there, is, you know, face painting, balloons, craft table. One thing that we do at events, but is we do a charity table. So we purchase all the stuff for it, and then people can come and help organize it and bag it correctly. So if it's, you know, for women or anybody, I guess, that needs just like deodorants and toiletries, like we buy all of them and they help bag them up together. I think that's really engaging as well.
Getting a permit for beer is not an issue. It's the beer and wine aspect of it that might.
Okay.
be the problem. So how important is it for alcohol?
I mean,
Okay.
I like alcohol, but but I understand.
Could we just have could we have the
Yeah,
beer
it
and
does.
wine?
Yeah, but getting a permit for out there, yeah.
I have a question. I know in the past we've had there's been a spring event that's with the Montgomery County. I wonder if we should combine it with that.
So I can speak to that because I asked Wicca about it, and she said that generally the spring event has been more of a Montgomery County event, with us doing a few smaller, you know, defined things to complement what Montgomery County is doing. She said that she had run into Jordan and she did not think they were planning to do one this year. And of course, that could change because this was about 3 weeks ago. But anyway, we could always check and make sure.
Yeah. Who would we check with? Is that something you could do, or?
His name is Jordan, and I don't mind checking.
Okay.
I'll check.
Oh,
He's the director of the rec center.
Oh, okay.
Could we have beer and wine in here? And then do the things outside, and people could come in here and have a little wine or something, and then.
Can they not carry it? Is it open cup?
I don't know the particulars, but I can find out.
Yeah, would you?
All I know is that getting the permit to include that would be a problem.
Okay,
So,
interesting.
but I can find out more.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
I don't know if it's a thing that could be advertised soon, but since we're actually coming with like the way things are changing, people are going to start to travel a little more, at least this holiday season. If it's a thing you want to advertise, if we can, and the collection can work out for people to collect their hotel, like the small size stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's often for the shelters often want that.
Okay, that's great.
Because often I know when I've been on like concert tours, there's always someone who's like
Yeah.
trying to get everyone in the whole ensemble to help for
Yeah.
everything we can, and then they give it to the Boy Scouts or something like that. But,
Yeah.
so
You might also have sake and some origami, make it a little Japanese.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we could definitely do something. Does anybody know origami?
I could ask somebody that I know who's not from the town, but she's an origami fanatic.
Really? Cool. Yeah, absolutely. If she wants like do a little table, that could be like the crafts that we do. That's really cool because that's so unique too. You don't see that. What other ideas do you guys have? These are great.
Make your own sushi.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that could definitely be the craft. I love that. Anything else?
Any other thoughts?
A band too? I don't know
Oh.
if we have recommendations for bands.
We do sometimes.
Okay.
Well, there's also the jazz band at Bethesda Chevy Chase High School that I think has participated in the Spring Fest before. So it's a question whether we combine it with them or whether they can, we do something separate at a different time, but they are often willing to play.
They are, because they get SSL hours.
Yeah.
And
they get
it's
community
handled through the school. We've had them perform at another town event in the past, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just asking, wasn't there an orchestra at the July 4 event? And that's what I was looking at you to ask. The orchestra, is it the Rockville band? Band, okay.
I think that the band depends on what time of when it is and stuff. I mean, they might be available, but maybe not. But there, you know,
They're a
isn't
big
there a
event.
choir,
They're
isn't there
big
a
event in
choir?
themselves. Hmm?
Isn't there a choir that's part of the town too?
Yeah.
Seriously Fun Singers.
Yeah,
It's the Seriously Fun Singers.
they're wonderful too.
We've had them before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the question is whether they'd be willing to come sing some songs.
Okay.
It's turning into a big event.
Yeah, I know. I'm pumped. I
Well,
love this stuff.
music is nice, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And do you have a contact for them? Seriously?
I could text them right now.
Okay, great.
But, do you want me to reach
Well,
out?
let's find out if the community is doing anything first, and then if not, then we can just nail down a date and then we can start planning and reaching out. Yeah.
Unless there are more comments on this event, we can move on. So I'm going to go out of order.
Actually, I do have
Oh,
a,
okay.
just in terms of budget,
Yes.
do you have an idea?
Oh, you're asking the wrong. I mean, budget. I mean,
Well, I think the most money we spent this year so far, Peter, how much did we spend on Oktoberfest, which actually had alcohol?
650, but that included $200 for glasses we can use again and again.
And the 400, yeah.
yeah.
Standard.
Okay.
I think your budget could be bigger than
I was
that.
gonna say, but like, I mean, beer and wine could be purchased too. Like they could purchase that. That wouldn't necessarily be free.
I think the whole thing is, you know, you've come up with a budget and then let's just submit it and see what
Okay.
happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How much is July 4th costing in normal year?
That's a lot. It's like $10,000.
How much?
10,000.
10,000, thank you.
I don't think we should,
Mhm.
I don't think we should charge for beer and wine. I think people expect that when they, like, when they come to events that have it, that it's free. So I think either we should have it or not have it, but not charge.
I'm all for that if we're good with that budget. Really? Okay. Food trucks not charged either, so I can.
And we've had food trucks,
Oh,
we've had
okay.
food trucks in the past and that's not a big deal. You just have to
Okay.
get
Maybe we could
permitting.
find a Japanese themed food truck that
Yeah.
has, you know, teriyaki, whatever Japanese food.
Okay, I can look into that. And then obviously band face paint, we wouldn't charge for, like, I want like balloons, craft table, obviously charity table. I can find a budget for that as well.
Isn't balloons environmentally suspect, Joe, these days? Everyone gets all upset about balloons.
I don't know. I had them at a kid's birthday party. I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I was just talking about the anti-balloon people out there, given its environmental impacts.
Aren't there balloons that are environmentally safe?
Biodegradable, I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah.
another thing to look into.
I'll definitely. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, really, there's one right
Oh,
up
there's
there.
two of them.
I was like, I remember my kids.
yeah, there are 2 Mickey Mouse balloons on the roof of the town hall. We don't know why, but. So, now I think, I mean, we can continue to email amongst one another about ideas, and if you have questions, we can carry it on over email. So I actually deleted the other ideas category because I wanted to fit this on one page. So I just wondered, do we want to do anything else for December in the sort of something holiday-ish? I remember looking through the files and I saw a cookie event, and I think it was canceled though, but so I'm not sure what why that happened, but, and I'm not sure how it would work in COVID, but I did want to raise it because now would be the time to plan it for, sometime in early December.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about a cookie exchange. I've never been to one, but I've always wanted to go to one. And I don't know exactly how they work, but I think the general idea is you bring a certain amount, like say 2 dozen, and then there's some way that you go about trading or exchanging or something, and then you leave and you have all these new cookies that you didn't make and you share. So
Has anyone been to a cookie exchange?
I have, and it's really rather wonderful, but it was last year or no, I guess it was probably 2 years ago. We thought it was a great idea then, and it flopped. I mean, we didn't end up having it. So I don't know why. It really is terrific because you end up with all sorts of wonderful cookies. You just go around and take the cookie. Everybody takes the cookie, and so you have a big container of all sorts of different types of cookies. And it's great. We could try it again, see if we can drum up interest. Well,
It's a holiday thing.
I think COVID is a big issue
Yeah.
with this. Who's going to
Yeah.
want to, I just
Yeah.
Does
don't
it
think.
touch you? Because, well,
No.
I guess if you wrap them and you individually and there's a way. But anyway, maybe not this year.
and then the other thing, and maybe this also falls under the COVID issue, but we did have good successes with sort of cooking competitions or cooking events where people bring sweetbreads or whatever it is, pies or cookies or.
But again, it's a lot of people and it's a lot of food.
Oops.
I just don't, sorry. We've done the pie, we've done cookies, we've done soups, we've
Bread.
done many things, but I think in the COVID environment, it's not gonna, we have to limit how many people come in here. And it's usually a huge event. We get lots of people from the town, but I don't know. It just makes me worried right now.
Yeah.
So maybe we put it on the,
Spring.
back burner for like April or May or something.
Yeah.
And a cooking thing isn't holiday related, so it can be any time.
What about caroling? It's outdoors and it would be kind of fun to have a group going around.
It could be very impromptu,
Yes.
meet here,
Right.
have somebody who'd be in charge and have copies of the carols,
Mhm.
and then have a path and just see who shows up.
Maybe have hot cider even. And maybe some songs printed out.
It would be an easy thing to organize. Again, we really need a critical mass. So we could see if there's interest.
Do we need it?
10 people would be fine.
Yeah, to
think so.
go around the neighborhood and sing.
Yeah, I'll help organize.
Great.
We want to pick a date for when it
Let's see.
should be probably towards the end,
I think,
like the weekend of the 19th or something.
Who's the point on the caroling? If
Julia.
Julia.
Mixed up between. It's I would say either the 11th and 12th or 18th and 19th.
I think closer to Christmas is better if you're going to carol, the 18th or 19th. If you're going to get enthusiastic people, it's got to be a little closer, I think.
So,
Maybe the 19th. I think there are also Christmas parties, those weekends. So
right.
maybe
So an
Sunday.
early evening on the 19th, maybe? Sort of right after dinner type of thing, maybe?
Or even, would like 5 to 7.
Yeah, whatever you want. Whatever you think makes sense.
Kathy, how long do people normally go?
I don't know. I actually have never done this, but it just seems like a good idea. I suppose in between an hour and two, maybe an hour and a half might be enough.
Does anyone have a flatbed truck that we could just pile in? And that way in that 2-hour period, because if we're walking and singing, like, I'm just wondering how much of the town could be covered in that time frame. But if we had a flatbed truck and had bells or something to just announce that we're in the area, I'm sure people will hear us and realize what's going on.
We can encourage handbells and things like that, I would think too. It would be fun. Flatbed truck, anybody know of?
I have to say, I have my fear of accidents is kind of taking over with the idea of the flatbed truck and children in the dark and whatever. But, we could also maybe sort of, I don't know, advertise it maybe as starting as a sing-along, and also publicize our route.
Exactly.
So that if people wanted to come here, they could know where we were going.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
My son plays handbells, so I could see if he could ask his instructor at school to whatever would be the appropriate handbells.
So any other thoughts on the holiday caroling event?
Does anyone want to support Julia in this event?
I'd like
But perhaps we should call it a sing-along or a holiday songs rather than caroling.
Because caroling has a more of a religious connotation, Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I think it would be really great to do a variety of songs. Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes sense. And Barbara, did you have something?
It just went like, I'll think of it and I'll call you, Julia.
Okay, so that was not on our agenda. So moving back to the agenda, we had, let's see, maybe I'm going to go out of order here because some of these are perhaps a little more, I don't know, urgent. So Kathy, would you like to speak to the sponsorship circles for Afghan allies?
Sure. Well, I read about it on one of my listservs and I was immediately very enthusiastic. And I thought this would be just great for the town to take on. However, upon reading more about it and the details, it really would involve a huge commitment. It's a fairly large financial commitment because you have to raise a minimum of, I think it's $2,500 just to begin. And it really would be something that we couldn't, our committee can't take on its own. It would have to be a neighborhood-wide
What is it actually?
it's to help, it's helping Afghan families or an Afghan family resettle in the area. And I think per person, it's over $2,000. So, and I think I think you work with them, you for maybe a minimum of 6 weeks, and you help them find a place to live and stock their apartment or wherever they're living. So it's, as I say, it's a pretty significant commitment. So I don't know if we think we could take it on or present it to the town, or it's a great idea, I think, but maybe too much to take on. I don't know.
I think St. John's Episcopal is doing that, and they have a whole church behind it. They've been doing that for many years with different kinds of refugee groups. So perhaps talking with them in terms of, it is a huge commitment. And I know a few people who've been involved in it, and the ones that sort of take the lead, it's their life for a while. So I don't know. I just don't see the town getting up that kind of enthusiasm, but maybe it could. I don't know.
What is the name of the church?
St. John's Episcopal right on the
John's, okay.
corner.
You know what, at minimum, maybe we just post something on the town listserv to get people to support their effort.
Right, right.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to draft something.
Well, I think we should look into it and see
Yeah.
where they're, what they're
Do you
doing.
want to be the
I can-
point for
I
that,
can-
Barbara?
I can ask
Great.
what's going on, so you'll know. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. That sounds like a plan. So the next proposal that we have is Irene's husband is an expert in this area of cyber safety, and he sent us an offer to do a program on cyber safety classes for seniors and parents, a different class for each one. And so we thought we would bring it to the committee to see if people thought this would be a good program and if there's a volunteer for helping pin down a date and time and things like that. Thoughts?
I have a question. Is there a reason just seniors? I think there'd be a lot of people in the town who'd be interested who aren't necessarily seniors.
So I guess with so many things that are going on, Brian was thinking if it would be more targeted. So if there's a third audience that's like, you know, not seniors, not parents that still would want to do this, then there wouldn't be any issues with coming up with a third set of slides or, you know, whatever. He just thought that those two areas, there might be more interest, you know, just with the kids getting on social media and all that stuff. So.
Sorry, I have an urgent request from my son. He can't find something. So what we're looking at, I guess, would be 2 classes to start with, and then if there's another sort of focused group, maybe think of a third one if there's a demand.
Yeah, I think so. And so the thing is, would we schedule this for January or February? I think after the holidays for sure. Well, I can follow up with Brian and just, I'll be point for that.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought it was a very good idea and a very generous offer. So for the new year, though. So now we're returning to another idea that I think Irene had suggested. Do we want to have a candidates forum for Montgomery County Council candidates? Is that something that we are interested in doing?
Can you explain what that is?
So next year, the entire county council is running for re-election. There's a lot of issues that affect this town that are in front of the county council now that will continue to do so. In the past, the town has held candidate forums. Just come in, meet residents, hear what's on their, you know, minds with respect to concerns, and go from there. The issue that we're finding is that people in the past who have organized these candidate forums are unavailable due to work commitments or just personal commitments. So I suggested to bring it to this committee, since you guys are all events, to understand if there would even be interest. We have several at-large candidates, meaning they represent the entire county, and then there's a candidate just for our district, which is District 1. We could have everyone come in at the same time and just, you know, compare and contrast based on issues. It could be Zoom, could be in person, you know, whatever works. But this would be, say, the January, February timeframe, late January into February, because it's really the primary season that matters here. It's not the November election, you know what I mean? Just because of the main party system that we have in this county. So. Well, okay. Yeah, just as things start heating up. By then, the council would have started talking about budget. So there'll definitely be some, whether it's the Capitol Crescent Trail Tunnel or, you know, other just issues that we're all concerned with. So.
Might be interesting to have it moderated by someone.
But I was just gonna say,
Yeah, just,
it has to be someone who can handle them and do the questions properly, like the person who moderates our,
The town council.
yeah, right,
yeah,
right.
although I think there was a guy, what's his name, Duffy, who used to moderate, and wasn't he really good? I think he actually moderated a debate in the 4-H center with a bunch of county council candidates at one point. Maybe we could see if he could do it. Does anybody know his last name? What is it?
Charles
Charlie.
Duffy.
Okay.
All right. So we're getting to the, we're almost at an hour. So first of all, any other comments or thoughts on the candidates forum? Anyone interested in working with Julia?
It's a ways off.
It's a ways off.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering whether we shouldn't broaden it to more jurisdictions, more towns, more Chevy Chase communities and things, you know, if it's.
That's fine, yeah.
Not here, it won't be big enough.
No, but I have a feeling it's going to end up on Zoom, don't you think? Anyone, probably. But anyway,
February, who knows?
I don't know. But it's something that should really get out to the candidates might be more interested in a larger group too.
Maybe, maybe not. I think that candidates will come out for just about any sort of, and no, I don't know if those of you who read Seventh State, which is what's his name that lives in the town, it's escaping me right now, but yes, doesn't matter, lives on Thornapple, that a lot of money comes from this area in terms of public financing. And so they're going to come here regardless if they're going to come.
We could just, you could start looking into it and we can develop it as it's a few months off and then see how it goes and whether it makes sense to open it up or whatever. We can get a good moderator.
I think it's also worth monitoring the discussion on the town listserv for what are those issues that seem most relevant to ground the discussion on those topics as we get closer.
Well, I just looked up and saw that Peter is gone and he was going to talk about the 5K run. But probably, yeah, probably that won't be before Christmas anyway. So we have two remaining events. One is a teen event. Do you want to talk to that, Quinn?
So the objective is to get our teenagers involved or engaged somehow. And my son Donovan is going to be connecting with Andreas, Irene's Andreas, and Tamara, what's your son's name?
James.
James, along with some other town teens to actually be productive with their energy and come up with some events that would be of interest to teenagers because they're the least engaged group. And so in addition to Andreas' initiative to lower the town voting age to 16, which is found in the literature to be conducive to civic engagement over a lifespan, I'm thinking that it would be good for teens to start thinking about civic duty and how they to serve, especially given how resource wealthy we are. So Donovan has connected with a couple of teens in the town. They're going to brainstorm. It's going to be like a brainstorming session. I said that if he wants to order pizza, the town would pay for that because that's a big motivator for them. and think about something that is of service, to get them started. They already looked at the town teens list that we talked about in the last meeting and found that a lot of those teens have graduated from college. Some of them have gone off to college. They're adults. So for the town to kind of go back and focus on teens is probably worthwhile doing at this point. Yeah. So that actually, we let the town office know, and they actually took that list down. So that all these parents are looking desperate for babysitters, and because I've been there and I've called that list, and it's like, these teens are not available. They don't even live here anymore.
So yeah, I'll remind James to keep on the lookout for that. So our last event that we know about, unless there are others that people want to propose, is the tree event. And it is, I think we talked about having this in April. So I mean, this one is a long ways off. I don't know if somebody wants to take ownership of it, or if we just sort of keep it in the background and
That promoting the canopy planting.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so-
So there should be somebody on the Climate Environment Committee that that you could connect with right away to say, we'll help you with maybe logistics, but you guys have got to do something too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Jeremy had a great idea last time. I'll remind you what it was, Jeremy. It was to time the promotion of the canopy, the tree planting, with Earth Day or something like that.
Yes.
So you basically amplify, the relevance of it. And exactly. So I can work with, I think it's a great opportunity to collaborate with that group.
And also, I might have been Jeremy that said this too, where lots of ideas here, to time it with when you order trees. So yeah.
And when
So
does the town order trees? And maybe to get some information about how many trees we normally order, where do they normally go? I mean, I think
Well-
having the nitty gritty on that would be useful for.
I can definitely get you information on when the town orders the trees. Now, I will let you know that from a public tree planting standpoint, every square inch that is possible to plant has been planted. Now, short of a tree falling and needs to be replaced, it's the private tree planting program that needs to be amped up. And that in terms of, what space is available. There isn't any past data that would be relevant if we really went full force and said, no, everyone needs to be planting more trees on their private property.
But they're still going to raise questions if we just have the answers.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
With the tree planting, because I was just email with October
Yeah.
is in April. And it's definitely the planting. So any arrangements that you guys, maybe you can prepare a spot near your property for planting.
They come in and do it. You don't have to prepare anything. Because I've had a private tree, they gave me one, and they just came in and double folded.
And then
The point is, if we have this event, we want to have it before they order trees, because there might be a lot of people who want trees. No?
Yeah, so April may not be the
Maybe
right
February.
time.
April is when the planting
The
occurs.
planting, but the ordering for those trees
Oh.
occurs much
Okay.
before then.
Okay.
Yeah.
and
I
isn't
want to
there,
say that it occurs like it occurred now, I mean, just to do that.
Well, maybe we could find out.
and isn't there a county or something where you can get trees? Because I had one planted in my
Yes,
backyard that it's
Pepco has,
free and
there's
stuff,
different programs.
just to kind of like talk that up. Maybe they'd come and.
Are we pushing, I mean, do we have not enough people who do it, or?
That's correct.
We're losing a lot of trees because they're all the same age.
One idea might be, just to make it fun, would be to have some sort of raffle and say, plant a tree and be entered into a raffle for, and a couple people would win, I don't know, a certificate to Home Depot or to Johnson's Flower Shop or somewhere, something like that. People who might.
Backyard bounty.
Backyard bounty.
Yeah, I mean, people who might want to do something like me, if they saw that, they might say, wow, sounds fun.
That's good. Yeah.
We could definitely fund that.
There's a lot of ideas. Maybe we should talk more about it.
The people who are kind of on the fence, and we'll get around to what you think.
Do you think that we could talk the town into maybe ordering extra, if we don't have time to do all this before, say we're gonna have this promotion, and can we get more trees because we're gonna be sure people are gonna wanna plant them? I don't know, I mean, maybe we have to talk to somebody.
Don't you also plant trees in the fall? So you could just solve all the scheduling if we just went for the fall planting. We could have it in April on birthday and people could
Sign up
submit
for
their
the fall.
proposals for a fall plant.
Or if they had extras, they could plant those.
There are two times, if you want to apply to the town, to have your tree planted, they have a fall planting aspect.
Right.
So it's like this week, and then in April.
But you have to put the request in.
Right. Yeah, this is deadline for the first.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, there's a form with a
Okay,
deadline.
so who's the point for, so I can be the point on the committee, but who is my my collaborator? On the office? Who yeah.
Likely it would be Dave Bolton,
Okay, so I'll reach out to Dave. I'll get some of these logistics down.
Climate Environment Committee to get somebody from
Okay.
that committee.
So I think that we have covered all the events except the 5K run. Does anyone have any other events?
It's not an event.
Okay.
Sorry. Mine's not an event.
Oh,
Jeremy?
I have two suggestions.
Okay.
You can pitch to the teams to get the teams are out. One is, I don't know if the teams would be interested in their own club. I don't know. And then the other one is, adopt a senior. It sounds a little, but but something that it could be connected to activities at home. When teams could do things like for shovel snow or like something
That's service.
yeah, connecting with having like their seniors that they are.
Or look out for, like, oh, do you need something from, the store? Do you need your snow shoveled? Something sort of like you keep track of, sort of like a neighbor you might keep track of.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and I can suggest the boys reach out to Chevy Chase at home or something like that, or the teens. There's at least one girl involved. Something that I did hear from Bethesda Chevy Chase parent listservs is there's a lot of like mental health issues with teens due to the pandemic, and also just like the stress of parents losing their jobs and like coming to high school and not having like the latest clothing or having to be seen picking up food because there's a lot of food security issues. And now the holidays are coming and everything. So my understanding is there's a lot of like insecurity around, oh, I'm poor or whatever, and showing up in class in person with your friends. So that might be something where it's like not necessarily like adopt a senior, but like adopt a, I mean, this is what the kids need to brainstorm because they have various sensitivities that I'm not sensitive to. But that I think is something that's related to the pandemic that actually could be quite productive, but it's inspired by your idea about it, adopt a senior.
Something that they can engage in.
Yeah, better than a book club.
I don't think they read books, except for what they have to read.
Exactly.
A game club, maybe.
Yeah. Well, your comment made me think that we sort of task them with the idea of something service oriented, which we could also maybe broaden it to say is there's, also it could be entertainment or building community, just by getting together, like a game. I mean, board games are very easy, and there could be like, if they wanted, I mean, I don't know if they want board games, but anyway, something like that. So last, wondered if there's anyone who would want to be the minute taker. Quinn and I have been doing this and would be happy to turn it over to one person. Usually it's one person who prepares the minutes. You don't have to all volunteer at once, and you can reflect on it and see if it's something like when you have a dream, oh, if only I were composing these minutes. But anyway, if you think you'd like to volunteer at some point, let us know. And actually they're pretty easy because they're sort of supposed to be a little dry and just sort of cover business that was covered, and it's not like a summary of everything that was said. Anyway, so I think, do we have any other?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just had one question or something. It has to do with the time of our events.
Right.
Some of them have occurred at 7:30, some at 7. In the past, they used to always start at 7, and they don't have to, but having shown up a half hour late for the book club, it was brought to my attention that the discussion of desserts was 7:30, the book club is 7. Would that be an issue for people coming? They get the wrong time, that kind of thing. So do we care? Do we want to be consistent? Do people want to come earlier and get done sooner? Or do they want to come later? What time is the movie? It's I don't even know.
So let me just say one thing, and that is 3 of the changes to 7:30 have been at my request, only because I have to pick up my son from sports practice at 7. So I'm happy. I mean, that's the sports season is ending. Yay. And so I think 7 is fine, if and hopefully that won't happen again. So
well, it doesn't matter about the committee. I'm just wondering, do you want to be
consistent,
and what is the best time to do things? And in the past, have we done the movie at 7:30?
Yeah, I think so, because we're, you count on it being like a 2-hour movie, so you're out by 9:30.
We never started them at 7.
I don't remember if we did or not. It was definitely between 7 and 7:30.
Well, that's the thing. So we could look that up.
Yeah, we
and
could
see when we
easily.
used to do them, just to try to get, and maybe 7:30 is better. I don't know.
Your idea, as much as you can, to try to. I think it's.
Like if you're having wine and cheese, do you want it at 7:30 or do you want it at 7? Or I don't know. That's just a question I put out there to think about. Do people want to go home and eat dinner and then go to the discussion of desserts?
Yeah. So we can think about that. We can return our meeting times for this meeting to 7, which I think they have been in the past. So if that would, because then people can get out earlier. So, and I think that's better for Amanda too. So next month's meeting will start at 7, everyone. And I think with that, we can adjourn at 8:49.